In the world of social media, young people are inundated with images and messages about their bodies, sexuality, and relationships. Well, today marks World Sexual Health Day and the launch of a new CBC series called About Sex, which takes a funny and a frank look at sex.
Sexting consists of exchanging sexual messages, including texts, photos, and videos.
So we spoke to a sex educator, Angel Sumka, about the ever-changing conversation parents are having with their children. From consent to gender identity, there is a lot to cover. She recommends starting as soon as children are old enough to start asking questions, and rather than attempting to shield teens from movies or television shows, well, you can use them as a tool.
This is one of those things we talk about a lot when we're talking about being a sex-positive parent, is that there's all these teaching moments. So you are watching a show with your kid, or you found out a book they're reading, includes some sort of sexual content or what have you, or you hear them having a conversation, being able to say, that's a really fascinating show. Like, what did you think of that episode? How did you feel about the way those people treated their lovers? How do you feel about the risks that they took? Do you think that's realistic? And just being open to what the child has to say, instead of doing the judgmental, shut it down and try and control how much knowledge they have, encouraging them to think about it, to consider it as it would apply to them in their relationships. That's what we recommend. So instead of being in a panic about what our kids are accessing, recognizing that that's a lot of opportunities for really healthy discussions where we can include consent and healthy relationships and setting boundaries and, how to deal with being pressured. And that stuff does come up on TV shows. So
what advice do you give all the parents that you are talking to?
I tell them to make sure that they're still learning, and not just learning about sex and bodies, but learning about judgment and where that judgment comes from, and learning about the impact of shame on a person's ability to set boundaries or have healthy relationships. And then from there, it's a lot easier to make decisions. So just being open-minded and trying to develop that self-awareness of where those roadblocks come from that we face when our kids want to explore anything to do with gender or sex or sexuality, where if we can look at those biases that we have and go, how did this impact my ability to have healthy relationships? It's a lot easier than to approach those situations with our kids.